Hello everyone, my name is Daniel and I'm just a casual sim racer, and today I want to highlight an amazing mod by Sergio Loro, and this track is part of his Golden Age tracks collection. I've linked the track in the video description below. It's amazing, the detail's incredible. Oh, and did I mention it's completely free, so head over to his site and check out Sergio Loro's other tracks. He's got amazing other mods that he's created. Some of them are paid, but lots of them are free as well. I highly encourage it if you haven't visited it before, and definitely check this track out. Definitely an awesome mod here. Right now I'm running it with the 1923 Grand Prix cars. The track race as an official 1923 Grand Prix event. Unfortunately, it's had a very short life due to financial issues and disappeared. But now within Assetto Corsa, you can try the track out. You could race modern cars, drift cars, whatever you want to do, all kinds of crazy combinations. What if the track had survived into the 1970s, you know? Any of those things you can now check out. Right here I'm running a race with Nicecuppatea's 1923 Grand Prix cars, and which is obviously perfect since this was an actual 1923 Grand Prix event. Ooh, look at that car going off before it heads onto the banking. So definitely flying. But of course, you know, the biggest feature of this track, it's great detail, but in real life, this track had 60 degrees of banking. That is the most of any permanent track that has ever been built. And you can go look at the remains today, they still exist, you can look them up online. Sometimes there's been a handful of promo events with cars and things like that in the remains of the Sitges racetrack. And it is truly epic, that 60 degrees of banking. And now you can drive anything you want within Assetto Corsa at this track and recreate what it was like to drive with a rough, concrete banking at Sitges. Right here in this race, we're up to 16th and already 3 laps down. It's a short lap, 2 kilometers, so it goes by pretty quick. It's definitely an unusual oval, kind of like a Trenton or Brooklands or however you might want to describe it. It's an unusually shaped oval with a little bit of a left-hand turn and a couple, maybe almost on the front and the back straightaway. And the layouts are counterclockwise and clockwise, so you have both options. So there's 2 layouts with the track, and really well done. I really love this pit straight area, just really well modeled. I think it looks great. So we're coming around here. I look back behind me, definitely trying to avoid some of these cars, see if I can pick up a few more positions. These cars are starting to spread out a bit more ahead of me. This track is very rough, which is accurate because the track was extremely rough with concrete. That was another complaint that kind of arose from drivers who raced on it. I don't think that helped with the monetary issues surrounding the track, enticing racing events, enticing sponsors. And it looks like I'm going to pick up a couple free spots with that car getting loose there. Climb up to 10th. Coming around a complete lap 4 of 5. Look at that. I mean, this banking's insane, people. Like, look at that. You fly down. I'm in the roll-in here, which is the slowest of the cars in the pack. And I really wanted a challenge, and I didn't want to just fly through the field. And it hits about like peak right now, 110, and I'm redlining down the straightaway. So definitely not a super fast car, but actually these 1923 cars are perfect. I'm going to have them linked down in the video description too. Really are a perfect match for this circuit. It really fits the area. You can see why this track was constructed. Alright, this is the last lap here. Got half a lap remaining. Coming in one final time. Do one more race. I'll put some 1906 cars on there and kind of show you maybe the limits of what the banking can kind of do. And you'll see some things on how some slower cars, some older cars would have handled at the 1923 Sitges racetrack. So finished 10th in that 5-lap event. I feel actually like that was actually pretty good for having the slowest car of the bunch, especially this being a flat-out track. Alrighty, jump right into this second race here. This is going to be counterclockwise instead of clockwise, and this is only going to do 3 laps here. And I'm driving, these are my 1906 and then 1907 Itala, 1906 Renault, 1906 Itala. So definitely, I've already released the Renault on my Patreon page. Just linked down in the description. You can check that out if you're interested in what my company Casual Sim Studios produces. But enough about that. Really wanted to show off kind of the interesting, if this track had been built a bit sooner, it definitely would not have been the best track. As you can see, and as I'm steering, it is difficult to stay in the banking, especially at the start. And a lot of these cars, because the Renault was definitely the class of the field in 1906. These other cars, the Italas, which are much less powerful, they're struggling. You can look behind, they're crashing. The cars are really struggling to stay in the banking. Definitely, I mean, if the AI line has them running high on the banking, but definitely if they had run on the low side, that's where they would have raced. But what would have been the point of building a steeply banked track like this? This was a track almost ahead of its time. Sitges was built in 1923. The cars could handle it, sure, but this really was a track ahead of its time. You look at Brooklands. Brooklands was a purpose-built record-breaking track, essentially, when they built it. That was in 1907. You look at this track, way more steeply banked. And a little bit of tighter corners because it's a shorter track, only 2 kilometers. And so you're looking at a track that was really ahead of its time. I mean, we really wouldn't see anything like this. And we had Opel Rennbaum show up in the 1920s in Germany as an oval track, but much less steeply banked. It's another track available for Assetto Corsa, by the way, if you hadn't known that. But you have this Sitges, and it just didn't really fit. I mean, it pioneered a lot of cool concepts, concrete track work, which was something that definitely is why it's lasted so long to this day and why there's remains. And it had the pieces, like it had the investment, it had the foundation, the track was well built. It just was too far ahead of its time. Now I'm carrying enough speed. If I can hit this, and I can't quite get to the top of the banking, but in the Renault, if I carry enough speed, I do just fine. But if you imagine me actually competing with other cars, if there was any slip-up of any kind, it would have been tragic in the 1906. I mean, it would be tragic in pretty much any vehicle with such a banking and no protection, safety, or anything like that. But really, this track, to me, really struck me as a huge highlight of the difference between really less than 17, 18 years can make on the cars. The bumpiness of the track, I really feel just the roughness of the suspension, and just really it's a struggle. Whereas you get to the 1923 and suddenly it feels like, oh, this is a perfect fit. So I just thought that was something that was really cool, and I wanted to point that out. So I may have been running around this track by myself because the cars really struggled and, had that giant accident, and a lot of them ended up deep, retiring from the race, and looks like there's 5 of us left. Coming around to finish, definitely an amazing track. Once again, I just think Sergio did a great job with this track. I recommend that you go check it out and download it, and it really is quite cool. I want to, we'll pull up the standings here real quick. Finish to the top, there's the rest of the order, a lot of them finishing. A couple of remaining cars running will come around and finish, but the rest you can see they did not finish and they DNF'd. Definitely check out those links below. I hope you enjoyed this video, but most importantly, I hope you have a great rest of your week.